I don't know what that dream is that you have. I don't care how far-fetched it might appear to be. I don't care how disappointing it might have been as you've been working toward that dream. But here's what I know. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. In the process of working on your dreams, you are going to incur a lot of disappointment, a lot of pain, a lot of setbacks. But in the process of doing that, you will discover some things about yourself that you don't know right now. What you'll realize is that you're more powerful than you can ever begin to imagine.
Anybody who is determined to do something, who wants something to be different, it will eventually be different. You're gifted, you're talented. God has much bigger plans for you in your life. Everything around you is going to change as soon as you change the things around you. It's very simple. You can be in the hood, change your mind and everything about your bank account, your surroundings, your environment for your kids, the safety of any and everything going on will all change. I'm tired of everybody running around complaining as if you're on the receiving end of whatever this world wants to dump on you and you don't have a choice. It's time to grow up, man. It's tired of people to really get out of this, excuses sound best to the person that's making them up. I want you to be successful. I want you to stop coming up with reasons and excuses as to why you're doing the same shit over and over and over and over.
You want friends who, when something good happens to you, that's good for you, right? They're happy about that. They're not like all bitter and resentful underground and like saying horrible things behind your back and telling you how they did something that was better and trying to drag you down. It's like, that's not helpful. And then when something bad happens to you and you go to them and you say, look, this terrible thing happened to me, first of all, they don't try to top it with some like horrible thing that happened to them because they don't have the patience to listen. And second, they're not secretly gloating about the fact that catastrophe finally befell you. It's like they're actually hurt by it. And that chapter's an injunction. Is like, take a look at the people that are around you. And if they're not on the side of what's good for you, then walk away.
You know, nothing happens unless you change. So change is not our enemy, it's our friend. There's a season that you may go through a difficult period, but that is to wake up your ability to change. You cannot become what you were born to be unless you are willing to change into something you are not. This is why change is so important. I like what it says here. Shakespeare says, sweet are the uses of adversity. We never grow in good times. We never advance unless we're under pressure. Change comes to improve and to advance your life, not to destroy you.
I think that we often forget this. And we're going to face hardships. We can't avoid pain. We can't avoid trouble. All we can do is prepare our mindset so that we don't get overwhelmed by our circumstances. A lot of people, when they have a negative circumstance take place in their life, they react negatively to it. And that seems almost natural. In fact, that is natural. Something negative happens to me, my reaction back to it is negative. But this is why you have to change your mindset.
Life isn't what happens to you when you're looking. What happens to you when you're looking is called a plan. Life is what happens to you when you're not looking, when your guard is down, when your back is turned. It's going to work on a Friday morning feeling good and having your boss call you in. And you know she has a look on her face and you know that look isn't good. You know the economy isn't so hard and we've got to let you go. And all you can think about are those 3 kids you have now. You know, life is coming home from work and finding that note on the kitchen table saying, hey, I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry, I love you, but I've got to go. And you're frustrated and you're betrayed and you're furious and you're angry, but all you want to do is hold them again. All you want to do is hear those words whispered in your ear, I love you again. You know, that's life. How do you handle that? How do you deal with that, those sort of situations? You see, it's been said 100 times and I'll say it again. You've got to go through it. That's all it is. You've got to go through it. And going through it is not a function of just being courageous. It's not a function of just saying, well, I'm going to close my eyes and see what happens next. It's not that. It's really a function of 3 things. It's a beginning, it's a middle, and an end. And before you go through it, there's a choice. You make a choice to say, well, I'm either going to stay here or I'm going to be over there someday, somehow. It's a choice. So going through it and thinking about these 3 steps, beginning, middle, and end, you can really save yourself a lot of trouble. You can discover something more about yourself.
It's called life, and it's not personal. Stuff's going to happen. And if you make it to the 40-yard line, if you can make it to age 40, between 40 and 60, it begins to intensify. All kind of things happen. Between 40 and 60, my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer and finally died. Between 40 and 60, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. Between 40 and 60, I went through a divorce from someone that I loved very much. Between 40 and 60, had a nationally syndicated talk show, highest rated, fastest cancer talk show in the history of television. Between 40 and 60, oh, life put a whooping on me.
I think the biggest vulnerability you've got is you actually value somebody's opinion more than you value your own. The reason I've been able to always do my thing is when I was 24 and people were like, oh, you work at your dad's liquor store? I heard that as like a chip on my shoulder, I loved it. I was like, cool, keep sleeping, Like, I'm glad you're on Wall Street making $100,000 buying BMWs and W jewelry. I'll see you in 30 years. Like, to me, the way you win is you realize you can't hear nobody. You gotta get real quiet up here. I can't hear anything. You go look at my Instagram right now, my first post, I'll post something, first 100 replies in 1 second. You're Jesus. You walk on water. You're the best. You're the all-time. Can't hear him. The next 100, you're a piece of, you're full of, you're a snake oil salesman. Can't hear him. I'm in my own mind, doing my own thing. And that comes with self-esteem. Everybody's trying to keep up with the Joneses. I'm not worried about you renting out cash from the bank and putting it to your ear. I'm not worried you jumped a fence and took a photo in front of a private plane. What do you think these people are doing? They're posing.
When you have goals and dreams you want to achieve, ask yourself the question, who should I count on and who should I count out? And so many people never achieve their goals because they have too many toxic, negative, energy-draining people in their lives. And you have to have goals outside of your comfort zone that will challenge you. Because in order to do something you've never done, you've got to become someone you've never been.
I was homeless, man. I mean, you're in a position where you're going, I got nowhere to go except up. I might as well keep hustling. I was in comedy. I just wasn't making nothing. All the money I was making, I was sending back home to my wife and kids. That didn't last long. She got tired of that real fast. But I couldn't go back to Cleveland because I wouldn't have enough money to drive back down south to perform. One time I drove to the house in Cleveland. I finally got enough money. I drove to the house in Cleveland and everybody was gone. I didn't see my kids for almost 2 years. They just left, boarded up the house. So next thing you know, I'm in the car. I lived there, but it taught me determination, man. I'm a really, really determined person. It also taught me that no matter what happens to you, it ain't over. I was determined to be something. As long as God wakes you up,
you may have given up on a dream. You think it's been too long. Now you've accepted that you'll never get well, never meet the right person, never start that business. But what God put in your heart, He's not only still going to bring it to pass, but it's going to turn out better than you thought.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks.
You have to take chances in life. If you don't take chances in life, you'll never have the life God has for you. Life is risk. It takes courage to pursue your dream.
Nelson Mandela said, there is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living.
So the first thing you have to think about when you're going through something is very simple. It's, I'm not where I want to be, but I know I can get there. I have faith that I'm going to get where I want to be. So yeah, go through the grieving process. Grieve. Accept that. Say yes to that. You know, one day you look up and, you know, you're still in pain, you're still hurting, but you realize that, hey, it's not as bad as it was. It doesn't hurt as much as it did. And I'm going forward, I'm moving forward. And at some point you emerge, you get to the other side, and you know that, hey, I haven't forgotten, but the pain doesn't hold you captive anymore. You're not crippled by the emotions, by the experience. You're not living out of the past, out of your experience. Of pain and feet on betrayal. You're not living out of all that stuff. You're living in a new perspective.
It's not what happens that determines the major part of your future. It's not what happens. What happens to us all. The key is what you do about it.
What we really want is not just success, we want fulfillment. The way we get fulfillment is self-respect, is self-confidence. And that's how somehow in your life you must begin to separate what you do from what people think about it. The people that have really won in life and in business, they eventually drop the addiction to what other people think about them. They're most concerned about what they think about them, or if they're a person of faith, of what their God thinks about them, not the rest of the world. Because the higher you climb, the more haters you're going to have. There's absolutely no question about it. You ought to hope you have more of them. The only thing I will warn people of is the higher you climb, the closer to you the haters are. So right now, if you're at one level of success, it's people at a distance that are haters. But as you climb higher, there's always the one or two people in your close circle who are going to try to pull you back down because they think you're leaving them. They make you, your success is making them uncomfortable about where they are. And so they begin to do everything they can to pull you back down.
Be very careful of people who manipulate and play on your emotions. They get you to sympathize with them. They get you to feel sorry for them. This is not about being heartless. I need you to try your best to emotionally protect yourself from a specific characteristic. Some of y'all are so used to operating overweight, you're never gonna get there. And guess what? You love negativity and dysfunction and keeping these negative people in your life so much. Even everything about this video, it makes you so uncomfortable, you probably stopped it a long time ago. I'm only talking to the people that are ready to get to the next level of their life and their career. And they're going to boldly walk into the next season of their life, unapologetically getting rid of all things, people, and situations that no longer belong in their life.
You run around with losers, you will end up a loser. Unconsciously, you will pick up their ways, you'll pick up their habits, you'll pick up, most importantly, their attitude about life. If you're around cynical, negative people all the time, you will become cynical and negative. Align yourself with people that can encourage you, people that can empower you, people that you can learn from, people that you can grow from. That's very important.
You will start that process of change. Do something different the next 90 days than you did the last 90 days, like picking up the books to read. Do something different, like the new health disciplines, relationship with your family, whatever it is, doesn't matter how small it is. If you'll start doing different things with the same circumstances, since we cannot change the circumstances, but we can change ourselves, we can change what we do.
Anytime you go through something, there's a fight. It's either a spiritual fight, an emotional fight, a physical fight. There's some sort of fight. But the key to the whole thing of this fight is that the form is the fight. That's the only thing you should take away from here today. The form is in the fight. What does that mean? It means that you don't get to become this interesting, dynamic, creative, courageous woman, amazing man, without going through something. Right? That's what the form is. The people who have form are the people who you see them and they stand out to you. Because you know there's something about them. They figured something out about life. They're attractive to you. They're interesting to you. These people have form because they've gone through something. You know, so don't run away from the fight. Meaning, go through it. Don't be afraid to go through it. Get through it, because at the end of getting through it, I guarantee you there's at least one thing you discover about yourself. You discover that there's a version of you you haven't discovered yet. You don't even know exists yet.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. I don't want you to protest, I don't want you to riot, I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflations and the crying in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it, my life has value.
You want to align yourself with people who think like you, people who dream like you. People who want more out of life, people that are stretching and searching and seeking some higher ground in life, as opposed to the majority of people. Somebody said always strive to get on top in life because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. And so you don't want to be on the bottom. See, it's easy to be on the bottom. It doesn't take any effort to be a loser. It doesn't take any motivation, any drive in order to stay down there on a low level. But it calls on everything in you, ladies and gentlemen. You have to harness your will to say, I'm going to challenge myself. Sometimes I have to pull myself out of bed and say, come on, Les. Things I know I should do, I don't do. Things I shouldn't do, I do. I found that the biggest enemy you have to deal with is yourself. There's an old African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm.
Beware of vision, dream, and passion killers. Most of the people that have no dreams will wake up every day trying to talk you out of your dreams. They have no goals. They have nothing that they're ambitious about. So they will talk you out of all the shit that you're excited about. Family and friends, in most cases, sad to even say this, family and friends in most cases will be the first to try and talk you out of something that you're passionate, excited about, and that you have a vision for.